that the $4 billion we would raise from one of these taxes, from a significant portion of university, always has to be what drives us. That we are funding the affordability agenda, not the question. I do believe these are the two most straightforward ways to do so. And I would contact Governor Hochul with Governor Cuomo, in that Cuomo almost made it his mission to go to war with New York City. Mm-hmm. And what I've found is that though Governor Hochul and I have a disagreement as to the necessity of taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers, the most profitable corporations, we have a clear agreement on the importance of universal child care.
And then there's the Jewish community. And you end up in rooms where people have been challenging you directly, sometimes emotionally, is my sense. I'm thinking about Dr. Albert Bourla, CEO of Pfizer, our colleagues. Reported on your conversation with him. He's the son of Holocaust survivors, and he pleads with you to stop calling what's been happening in Gaza up until now. There's now a ceasefire, a genocide, which is what you call it. And he pushed for you to condemn this phrase, globalizing intifada, because in his mind, it raises the specter of violence against Jews. And I wonder what you've come to understand about the perspective of people like Dr. Bourla and Jews in general in New York who are grappling with the way you talk about Israel.
I would distinguish one piece in that my use of the term genocide is not a personal opinion. Rather, it's a reflection of findings by institutions, even of genocide scholars themselves, institutions like the United Nations. And it is a word that reflects what has been happening in Gaza. I've had a number of Jewish New Yorkers ask me, you said you recognize Israel's right to exist, but you won't recognize its right to exist as a Jewish state. Would that be the case for Saudi Arabia? And I said, absolutely it would be, because my belief...
So your objections remain equal?
Yes, for any state.
Saudi Arabia, UAE, as they do to Israel.
For any state, I'm not going to recognize its right to be a state with a hierarchy of citizenship on the basis, whether it be of religion or race. And part of that is because, especially as an American, thinking of the importance of a state which enshrines equal rights within it. And to make clear that my critiques of Israel are critiques that I would hold for any other state violating any one of these other international laws. And the focus that I and many other New Yorkers have had on the question specifically of Israel's violations of these international human rights is also in part because of our unique complicity as Americans in those violations.
You mean because of the American funding of the war in Gaza?
And prior to that, and the nature of sending, $4 billion a year every year prior to this.
One of your critiques of the Democratic Party, and it feels worth mentioning this here, is PEP. Progressive except for Palestinians. And we're at this really interesting moment. There's now a ceasefire, potentially a peace process, and I am curious.
We did. You did that.
If you can
Thanks for
be
doing
a little
that.
specific, because we are now in that moment.
Thanks for saving Gaza, everyone.
The Middle East may be born. Is there a version of Israel that you could be comfortable with, and maybe even, as almost all mayors have in the past, visit?
I've said, and I continue to believe, that one need not visit Israel to stand up for Jewish New Yorkers. There are millions of New Yorkers, myself included, who care deeply about Israel and Palestine. And my desire is to be a mayor who is both clear in my belief in universal human rights, the necessity of extending those beliefs of freedom and safety and justice and equality to all people, and that must also include Palestinians. Realizing me, I will face them knowing that just by virtue of Donald Trump, what actually makes it law is what go through the court system.
Ultimately, a major reason why Trump might intervene in New York would be part of an ICE campaign to round up and deport undocumented immigrants. There are an estimated 400,000 undocumented immigrants in New York.
I'm not looking to assist Donald Trump in his attempt to fulfill his campaign promise to create the single largest deportation force in American history.
Thank you, Mom.
There are New Yorkers I know of who took down the numbers on every apartment on their floor so that ICE wouldn't know where anyone one lived.
Wow.
I spoke to a Dominican barbershop owner in Harlem who told me all of his barbers have legal status and they are terrified of coming to work. A general sense of the hollowing out of the immigrant hubs of this city. And no, I'm not going to help Donald Trump in doing so. I'm in fact going to fight Donald Trump when he looks to tear families apart.
Would you ever meet with President Trump?
Thanks, Mom Donnie.
Absolutely, I will meet with President Trump. I think it's incumbent upon any mayor of this city to meet with the president of the country. What I won't do is work with President Trump at the expense of the city.
Mr. Mondani, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mayor-elect Mamdani. We got to vote for him. We got to support him.
Zoran Mondani will participate in the first general election debate of the
Oh, wow. Enjoy that, everybody. My gosh, we got to elect him. We got to comment and post about it. You can't give him any more money. You can't give Mamdani any more money. He's already gotten all the... He's already gotten the maximum amount of money. He can get $8 million. So he can't take any more money. But he can use your comments, your support, post about him, share videos about him, all that stuff. Send people videos about him and encourage them to support. And then give the money to Kat Abaghazali or other candidates who are running other mini Mamdanis all over the country. Or become a mini Mamdani yourself. Run for mayor in your town or run for something in your town and in your state. And let's take the country back from these Trump mutineers. Thanks. And thanks, Zoran Mamdani. Everybody who supports Mamdani, we should support everybody who supports Mamdani and not support anybody who doesn't. Like, this is the threshold for people who care about USA. Your love for the USA is reflected in your respect for Mamdani. Your fear of Mamdani shows your hatred of USA. So let's encourage people who love the USA, who love our real principles, to talk about electing Zoran Mamdani. You can share that interview he just did on The Middle, and then the debate is apparently tonight. So check out the debate tonight, and you can use the hashtag Pillow Revolution to organize if you like, just for nonviolent revolution, both political and besides politics, all the other stuff we can do, posting on our phones, just getting some rest sometimes, or having sex. Anything you can do from bed counts for the Pillow Revolution, but also like the inflatriots. They're all puffed up animal protesters peacefully protesting in Portland. That's the Pillow Revolution too, because they look like big pillows. But also just everything we do, everything peaceful and nonviolent that we do to overthrow them, whether it's voting and encouraging voting, or whether it's protests in all types of forms. We got to stop these. We got to stop these Trump mutineers. Let's see what the news is, and then I'm going to turn it off. But thanks for being here.
Almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land. President Trump says he's escalating his campaign against
Venezuela. Oh my gosh. He's trying to go to war with Venezuela.
The U.S. military. It's Thursday.
You can't do that. The military needs to overthrow Trump. Like, do your duty to save America from foreign and domestic threats, which Trump is both.
That's come up a lot during New York City's mayoral race is buses and whether they should be free.
Yeah, Mamdani wants to make them free. Confirmed by a bus going by.
Gaining speed around the country, but not everyone is on board.
We're all on board. People who aren't on board can leave. And if billionaires are going to leave Mayor Mamdani's New York City, don't let the free buses hit you on the way out.
Energy infrastructure.
As the joke.
Development expands across the Mountain West. Hear why it's not just renewable energy that's a big draw for companies. The news is next.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Ryland Barton. A federal grand
Just listening
jury
to the
in
news.
Maryland has indicted former National Security Advisor John Bolton. NPR's Carrie
Anyway,
Johnson
we got to stop
reports
these Trump
Bolton is
mutineers.
accused of
But
mishandling
thanks.
classified documents.
The grand jury indictment charges John Bolton with 8 counts of transmitting